Hi Fred, completing the square. Right, remember what we're going to have, the equals, we're going to try and get all the x's to one side, get that constant over to the other. So x squared minus x equals 3. Now if we're going to make it into a square, the coefficient here gets halved, so that's a half. We have the x, the sign is minus, and that is still equal to 3. But what we have to do is, if we expand that bracket out, we do that over here, x minus a half times x minus a half ends up equaling to x squared, because we do the x squared, and then we get the minus x. What is that? We get the minus x, and then we're left with a constant, because we have the half times the half, or the minus half times minus half. So that ends up being a positive quarter. So what we have to do, when we put it into brackets, we still do the same. We have the same number as would be in this number within the brackets. That's squared. And if you want to think of it this way, if you expand those brackets out, you get a positive quarter. So we've got to take that away. So therefore this side is still equal to that. So the whole of this side is still equal to that one above that. And 3 always equals 3. The mistake we made was that we took away a half from both sides. So if we expand that, take that over to that side, then taking the minus a quarter over means that it's 3 1/4. Which, if we make it into improper fraction, that is 13 over 4, and that would equal the x minus a half all squared. If we square root that, then we have to square root the sides, so if we do that to both, we get to x minus a half equals, square root this side, root 13 over 2. And that's because if you square root 13 over 4, that's exactly the same as root 13 is the same as root 13 over root 4, which is the same as root 13 over 2. Therefore, just remaining to remember that if you're squaring, you have a plus or a minus, and then the last thing you have to do is take the minus a half over, which makes it a positive half, plus or minus root 13 over 2, and this goes on to 1 plus or minus root 13 over 2, which is neater rather than having the two halves separately. Now, if you want to try the next one by yourself, then do so, pause the video. Otherwise, here we go, we'll do the same. So it's x squared minus 3x, taking the 5 over equals 5. We have a coefficient of 3, so therefore we're going to have 3 over 2 within the bracket. It's a minus sign, so it's minus there. And what we're going to end up with is 3 over 2 squared. And as it's a minus times a minus, it's a plus, so you have to take that away. And that equals 5. So ending up with x minus 3 over 2 squared equals 5 plus, and if we expand that out, 9 over 4. Now if you want to make an improper fraction out of it, it's 29 over 4. Now when the next step is if we square root the whole thing, we get x minus 3 over 2 equals, and we square root this side, so plus or minus, and if we're going to do the short one, we're going to have root 29 over root 4, which is 2. And so this leads on to the value for x is 3 all over 2 plus or minus root 29. Give that a go yourself. You can go work through the video at a slower pace just to make sure that you understand it fully. And by the way, when I said that there was no mistakes in your answer sheet, have a check through the ones that
you've done and have a look at some of these and see where the mistake is. Good luck. Over to you.